Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It's time! 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead. Michael got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
To the far side around the 8-yard line to Hester. Under it and to the middle with the 15 to the 20, breaks free of the 25 to the 30, to the outside, 40, midfield, 40, 30 to the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5. Oh! Touchdown!
Toward Bryant. He will glove it for Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this Hump Day edition. I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. And if you're not following us on Facebook, what? All right, listen, go to Facebook, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. Simple. But wait, there's more. Go to the show's page. Go to Shawn and Maya in the morning. Like that page as well. So not only will you be following Sports Zone Chicago, but you'll be following my show, Shawn and Maya in the morning as well. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, excellent. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, for real, come on, man. Go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago. All right, click the subscribe button. I'm trying to get my subscriptions up. There's a lot more things I can do. I can move around freely once we get my subscriptions up. So do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe to Sports Zone Chicago. Also, make sure you click the notification button. That's the little bell right next to the subscription button, the subscribe button. And that'll let you know anytime a show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. You get it? Got it? Good. All right. Now, if you're watching us on our mobile app, please don't tell me you didn't know we had a mobile app. Come on, man. We have a mobile app. What is wrong with you? All right, listen. So go wherever you get your apps from. It doesn't matter where you get your apps from. It doesn't matter. iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Walmart, Kmart, 7-Eleven, Zayre, Zemsky, Macy, Montgomery Ward, Woolworth, Venture, Goldblatt. That's what I'm talking about. Wherever you get it from, you go there, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you download it. You take us with you on the go. So not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you get our other live shows throughout the week, not only are they archived there like they are on Facebook and YouTube, but I'll tell you what, we give you a slew, and I mean a slew of articles, thanks to my man Clarence, Council III. Big up to Clarence for keeping you abreast of all articles Chicago sports related. Now, if you're watching this on our Roku channel, I like that kind of party, baby. Sports Zone Chicago. We have our own Roku channel. So if you have a Roku television in the house, do us a favor. Download Sports Zone Chicago's channel right there, right over there. My Chicago accent, right over there. Download it. Put it next to Netflix, Hulu, Prime, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Apple Plus, Paramount Plus, Stars, BMF, Black Mafia Family debuts this season premiere is Friday. I like it. I like it a lot. So put us down there. All right. Put us right there on your TV. Download it and put us smack dab in the middle of all of them. And you can watch us on the big screen. Hell, we're on a big screen, right, Mickey? Ficky now. Now, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at Sports Zone Shy, the CHI, at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me. Personally online, you want to know what I did? Well, let me tell you what I did. You want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram because you're an IG or you do it just for the gram, you just follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. Now, we have a phenomenal show, but I need you to get interactive. So whatever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's our mobile app, leave a question or comment on that platform. It'll come up here in the thread. We'll put it up on the screen. We'll incorporate it into the show. And that, my peoples, is why this is the best morning Chicago sports talk show around. And that's you. All right, so bring them all, baby. We want all that stuff. All your questions, comments, smart-ass remarks, baby. All that smoke. All right, because ain't nobody scared over here. And like The Rock said, baby, don't sing it. Just bring it. Let's see who we got in the chat today. Levette Lee in the house. Good morning, Mama. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Oh, man, Cornelius Squalls. What up, man? Woo, that hawk was out, boy. I was telling my producer, Steve, I said, I went to go get my newspaper this morning. So when I went to go get the newspaper, I just had to, sometimes, it's at the gas station. All right, I'll just throw on anything. And I just threw on a sweatshirt, not even a t-shirt, nothing. I just put on some sweats. I threw on a sweatshirt, a hoodie. I opened the door, walked out, like, whoa, okay, maybe I'm gonna get my vest and cover my torso, my thoracic, my thorax needed to be covered. I had to come back in and put my vest on. Like, damn, it was cold. Yeah, the hawk is out, baby. The hawk is out. Be smooth. What's up, Papa? How are you? Thank you for tuning in. Patty Lara, what's up, man? How are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. And here's my man, Armando Emeterio. Lara. Junior's in the house. What's up, baby? How you doing, big dog? Junior's one of my personal protectors. I love it. My man, Black Diamond in the Mickey Ficky house. Yeah. Hey, see Adam in the house. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Damn. We getting it in. Keith. Girl, step on stage. I step on stage. Girl, scream like I'm Keith. That's what I'm talking about, Keith. James Ford. That's what I'm talking about. Man, we got Charlie. So Patty and Junior are watching. That means Jeremiah's watching. And I know Dito's not watching because he is at school. But I know Junior will show it to him when he gets home. So Armandito. So Dito and Jeremiah, good morning, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking it out. Man, we have an awesome show, man. But listen, we're going to get started early. So we're going to, good, not only 9:11. We have an awesome show. We're starting at 9:30. My man Eugene McIntosh from the Bigs is going to join us. We're going to talk a little Bulls, man. You talk about a low point for the Bulls yesterday, losing to the Detroit Pistons. They only had 8 wins. They only had 8 wins on the season. Remember, they had a losing streak of like 647 losses in a row? Well, that's by the wayside. Well, it wasn't. They had won, but still. It was with that win yesterday that gives them 9 times. Your son's been absent from school 9 times, Mrs. Bueller. Detroit is 9-49. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What the hell, Bobby? Crazy. Yeah, that was embarrassing. So we're going to talk to Eugene McIntosh, or maybe even talk a little. Talk some Cubs with him too. All right, Shohei. I shouldn't say Shohei. That was on the other side of Phoenix. Cubs are in full swing, as all teams are, out in the Cactus League, action, getting ready to gear up for the season. So we'll talk some Cubs with him, but definitely Bulls, maybe a little Cubs with Eugene McIntosh. And then at 10 o'clock, man, the draft man himself, E.J. Snyder. He's a senior draft analyst from Windy City Gridiron. He also hosts one of their podcasts, Bears Over Beers, and also Bootleg Football. So good to finally have him back on. I like his analysis. I like his work. So we'll get to chop it up. It's been a minute. So we're going to talk to E.J. Snyder today at 10. Woo! Man, what a busy show. What a busy day. Guys, you know how we do. We got to get started. Cue up MC Hammer. Let's get it started. You know how we do the first segment of every show. It's called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it.
we go. What the hell, Bobby? Let me get rid of that. Here we go. First top of the morning topic. Man, that was ugly yesterday. Ugly. Who sings that? Bubba Sparks? Ugly? The Bulls lose to the Detroit Pistons. Detroit sucks. At home. The hell was that? At home. 105-95. Man, let me tell you something. Well, first of all, Vucevic led the way, 25 points, 10 rebounds. DeMar DeRozan, he added 25 points as well. Andre Drummond, walking double-double. Him and Vuce are walking double-doubles, 20 and 10. Kobe White, 10 points, but he was 0 for 5 from beyond the arc. And as I said, I just told you, Detroit had 8 wins yesterday going into that game. 8. There's no excuse for that whatsoever. None. A lot of people were calling for Donovan's job again. I don't think that's happening. But ni modo, eh? But it's not going any further. The Bulls host the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight, back at the United Center, back over on the west side. Our tip-off is at 7 o'clock. You can catch that game on NBC Sports Chicago. Or if you can't watch it and you want to listen to it on the radio, catch them on their flagship, 670 a.m. Let's see. The next top of the morning topic is a quick one. The Blackhawks host the Colorado Avalanche tomorrow. They will be at the United Center. So after the Bulls game tonight, they tear it down. They tear the court down. They pull it apart. It's a big jigsaw puzzle. Get the ice ready for the Blackhawks tomorrow as they host the Colorado Avalanche at the United Center. Puck drop is 8 o'clock. That game is on the 4-letter network on ESPN, or you can listen to it on their flagship station, 720 a.m. We'll get to this in a second. We'll go right here. In Cactus League action, my White Sox. Yeah. My White Sox fall to the LA Dodgers 9-6. Garrett Crochet, who's coming off Tommy John surgery, struck out Shohei Ohtani in his first at-bat, but later in the game, Ohtani hit a home run in his debut off of Dominic Leone. Wow, that was tough. That's why Shohei Ohtani is a two-time unanimous MVP of the league. The White Sox, the games don't stop, Papa. They don't stop. This is spring. They'll probably play 5 to 6 games a week in Cactus League. So the White Sox today, they host the Padres over at Camelback Ranch in Glendale. First pitch is 2:20. I don't know why I didn't do that. Oh, because they're not on TV. That's why. But first pitch is 2:20. Matt Waldron versus Delvey Garcia. Moving on. We're moving on up. Where did that go? Next top of the morning topic, the Cubs. Only the Cubs. The Cubs rallied from 6 runs down to tie the Cincinnati Reds yesterday, 6-6. So for those of you who don't know, you're like, what? Cactus League games are spring training games. You got the Grapefruit League, people in Florida. But spring training games do not go to extras. Okay, they don't go to. Actually, I think they only play 7, if I'm not mistaken. And it's simple. You know, they don't want to waste time. All right, those games are boring. They understand that. So it is what it is. You know, you get your work in and you're out. All right, we're not going to extras. We're not doing that nonsense. All right. It just happens. No one wants to do that. No, they went to 9. Why did they? I thought they only went to 7. I don't know why. Maybe that was a 1-year trial? Oh well. But there's no extra innings, none. Like, nah, we don't need any of that stuff, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. So I get it. That's cool. But again, the Cubs travel to Phoenix. All right, today to face the Brewers. All right, first pitch is 2:10. You can see that on the Marquee Network, or you can listen to that on their flagship station, 6:70 a.m. Jordan Wicks goes for the Cubs versus Rob Zastrinsky. Zastrizny? Zastrizny. I don't want to butcher your name. Sorry, Papa. And the next top of the morning topic, official. It's officially official. We talked about it before. I know they were in agreement with it before, but yesterday it was made official. The Cody Bellinger deal. Terms weren't disclosed. However, sources have reported the other day that it was a 3-year, $80 million deal, 30-30-20, with opt-outs after the first and second years. So, busy day in the desert. Let's see what else. Yeah, let's get to it. Next top of the morning topic, the Bears. General Manager RyanPoles spoke yesterday at the NFL Combine, and he said he wants the quarterback situation to be settled, quote, before free agency. It was quite a situation yesterday, and, he did a good job of staying neutral. But I'll tell you what, and you know where I stand. I haven't wavered. I will not waver. All right. I think I want Justin Fields back. I believe Justin Fields is the best option to lead this team forward. Okay. I do. I don't think that this. I just think he is the guy that the leadership, and there's a lot to decipher. And everybody, the media's jumping on, oh, Justin Fields is gone. And then there's a thing on social media. There's a guy that looks like Justin Fields who's jumping up and down and says, yeah, I'm going home. That's what it sounds like. You can't really tell if it's Justin Fields or not. Had a different hairstyle, but that doesn't matter. He could always have taken out his, blown out his hair, taken his hair out. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. There's just a lot. But again, this is lying season. Okay. And then you're hearing all the reports from everybody now. Before it was the Bulls are taking Caleb. Then the Bears. The Bears are using the number one pick. They're keeping the number one pick. Then now the Bears are trading the number one pick. They want the haul. Now you're hearing again the Bears are keeping the number one pick. So back and forth, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Peter King set Twitter afire the other day when he talked about, and it was his last column for Sports Illustrated, and he said that the Bears, he hadn't spoken with anybody. He said that clearly. But he also said he thinks the Bears are going to trade the first pick. That set Twitter ablaze. But it's yesterday, RyanPoles seemed to have, and he was asked a lot about Justin Fields and the whole situation. And here's what RyanPoles had to say. Well, here's one of the clips we had of what RyanPoles said yesterday down in Indianapolis at the Combine.
What was your evaluation, really, your biggest takeaways from him this past season? Yeah, I think he grew. What I really like about how he grew this year was I feel like the game slowed down for him. Not only was he able to be dynamic with his legs, he was starting to approach the line of scrimmage with his eyes up and finding explosives down the field, which makes it really difficult to handle Justin. Love his connection that he's had with DJ and Cole. The growth there has been outstanding. Obviously, throws a beautiful deep ball. We saw those explosives throughout the year. Yeah.
So it was quite interesting, quite interesting. And I don't know. We're going to have to wait to see how it plays out. So you got a couple more weeks before free agency. So some people are saying the trade's going to happen this week. Some people say next week. It, again, here's my, you know what? Great question, Black Diamond. I understand it's a business, but why in the hell would you contradict yourself while talking about continuity, then turn around and reset the clock? I agree. Again, this is lying season. That's the one thing that we all have to remember. Okay, remember, it's lying season. Everybody's lying. Nobody's telling you the truth. Okay, nobody is telling you the truth. Okay, there are. Everyone's got an agenda. Everybody, and they can't play their hand. And here's the thing. You want to make people think you're going to use that number one pick. Okay. The reason you want to make people use that number one pick because they're still going to call. Other GMs are going to do their due diligence. The New York Giants, all right, the Atlanta Falcons, they're coming up. And what this is doing is this is creating an unbelievable haul. Because if he's talking about that and all the things he said about Justin, says he's moving off of Justin or intimates, and he didn't say he was, when he talked about doing right by Justin and all this other stuff, that was in response to a direct question. So he didn't just come out and say, yeah, I want to trade Justin, I'm going to do right. No. All that Justin talk was in response to a direct question. Okay. So if you want to get rid of that number one pick, you want to haul for it, you have to create value for it. And the way you create value for it is that you show people that you want it. And when other GMs come call you, and they already know in their minds, well, he really wants this because he's so torn. He's so torn that he doesn't know if he wants this number one pick or he wants Justin, but if he really wanted Justin, he would say it's all gamesmanship. It's all gamesmanship. And so, I agree with you, Black Diamond. You and then plus what he said. And again, what has he said in the past? And listen, you can't go by what people say now. And especially now that it's lying season, you just got to take everything with a grain of salt. But what has he said in the past? What did he say when he got here? I'm building this through the draft. That's what he's saying. That's what he said. And he said it repeatedly. Yeah, a lot of talk to it about Atlanta to Justin. They even had the clip, the Instagram post like, oh, it's Justin's manager put it up, blah, 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 blah. Hold on. Pardon me, guys. But it didn't look like Justin, like I said. And a lot of people say it was fake. It looked fake. So, yeah, the continuity, that's huge. Huge. My man DC in the Mickey Ficky house. Good morning, Papa. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. He's trying to get a haul. And I'm telling you, I went and I watched the Washington's GM's presser yesterday. I forgot the guy's name. I went and I watched his. Thank you, Brian. Junior, you heard her? That's hilarious. That's funny that you heard her in the background saying, God bless you. That's funny. And when they asked him about the quarterback situation, the GM for the Washington Commanders, he said, we haven't even talked about Caleb, me and Cliff Kingsbury. Now, if that isn't the biggest bull-faced lie, really? Really? But okay. We haven't even talked about Caleb. We're really happy with what we have in Sam Howell or with Sam or whatever, and then moved on quickly. To me, again, just knowing people, when you want to get off a topic, you address it quickly, curt, short, and you move on. There's no explanation. You know, we've all been there. Girlfriend asked, where were you last night? Oh, just with my guys, man. No big deal. Yeah, no big deal. What did you do yesterday? But oh yeah, and you change the subject. You just move on, quick, fast, right? So the Washington GM did that same thing. Oh, we're happy with Sam, and then he just boom went on with something else. So you talk about a master's class in how to play GM, how to be a GM. RyanPoles is putting you on. This ain't 101. This is 401 on how to be a GM. All right. You see it in his body language. You see it in his, and he could very well be at odds. But I think he's been in the front offices, all right, long enough to know. And mind you, going through 3 GMs. Remember, he was with 3 GMs in Kansas City. He picked up a lot of game. Okay, from 3 different GMs. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out, man. We'll see. All right, you know where I stand. I haven't wavered once. Okay, I still think that they're going to. And if they do, and if I'm wrong, guess what? It ain't the first time I'll be wrong. It probably won't be the last, although it's not going to happen too often, but it won't be the last. But listen, we're gonna table that discussion for the top of the hour, because on the other side of the break, we'll take a real quick break. My man's in them. My man from the Bigs, Eugene McIntosh, talk about the albatross that was at the United Center yesterday. That's about all I can say. Is it's probably about the best way I can put that yesterday. So keep it locked right here, folks. My man Eugene McIntosh from the Bigs on the other side of the break. So don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness. So find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
Hi, guys. Hey. Hi, Megan. Hey, Jessica. Megan, you're a tramp. Brian Fitch told me you guys made out. Everybody knows. He said your breath smells like garbage. And he almost puked. He says you're the most desperate girl he knows, besides your mom. How many boyfriends does she have anyway? Lots? Your makeup makes you look like a clown. That zit is huge, zit face. Ugly.
Hey, bud, what you doing?
I'm playing with cars.
Cars? Can you show me what a car does? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a second. First of all, this is a school zone. So you need to put down your cell phone, stop texting, and let's get to driving. Now you're coming up to a stop sign, right? You need to slow down and stop before you hit that Y line. I want you to look left, right, left. You don't want to get hit by a car going on your left, and to your right to make sure you don't get sideswiped by a guy coming from your right. You're coming, and you see a crosswalk. You better slow your horses down, because the #1 rule of driving is always yield to pedestrians. Now stop, pull over, and you are done driving. Gosh, what do they teach you kids in school nowadays?
The season, so you can't take anybody lightly.
Steal cookies.
Bad pass by Jaden Ivey, and Caruso easily dunks it home.
Wow. Big or small, he can play them all.
Just saw KC tweet about it. There's Vucevic again. That ties it at 6. Caruso takes the clock down to 5. Goes to work. Flips to big.
Oh, Mr. Drummond.
DeRozan, Vucevic, and Drummond had 25 of the 29 points. And they'll add with Drummond.
Free cheese. So they're getting out to the three-point shooters quick.
To their credit. White feeds Vucevic 4 on 3. Andre Drummond with the rebound and the putback.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those comes courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago. Those were the Bullies yesterday with an embarrassing loss to the Detroit Pistons, 105-95. Yeah, I had actually 4 people, 4 of my friends on Facebook were posting on the timeline yesterday. They were at the game, and I know they're mad as a mother Hubbard, boy. Let me tell you. So my first guess, let's get to him, baby. Let's get to him. You know him. He's from the Bigs. He is, you can find him on Twitter at Stay Humble. Guys, let's welcome back Shawn and our man, Eugene McIntosh. Gino, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Shawn, what's up, brother? How's everything, man?
Man, things are going well, brother. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on today, man, and chopping it up with me because we got a lot to talk about.
All day. It's all good. Let's get it.
Your thoughts yesterday, 105-95 to a team with 8 wins, 8-49 coming into the game yesterday were the Detroit Pistons. Your thoughts yesterday as the game was winding down. I saw your story yesterday. You had Benny the Bull just like
yeah.
Talk to me about that.
I'm with you, man. I had by the time that game was over, when I checked my Instagram, and shout out to that plus 375 too, because I definitely took the Pistons money line. Just because it was 400 to start, but I was doing some media stuff. So when I got back to the line, it was 375. But shout out to that 375. But I picked them because I had been watching the Pistons the last couple games. You know, the night before they had that loss in New York. And Monty was, he was fed up. So I was thinking that they were going to come in Chicago. They're a young team, and the mindset, how everybody thinks about back-to-backs and how you should take care of a team on the second end of a back-to-back. And I don't necessarily run with that narrative, especially with young teams. It's like, and a team like the Pistons that have nothing to lose, like you said, they came in with 8 wins. So I'm pretty sure Monty had those guys fired up. And the way that they played against the Magic and the Knicks the last 2 games, I felt like they had a slight edge coming into Chicago against the Bulls. So when I checked my messages, man, when the game was over, I had like 6, 7 DMs in my Instagram talking about Billy Donovan needed to be fired. And while I don't think Billy is in the clear in all of this, I do think like he's the least of the problems around there. My biggest problem, as you know, and I've been stating this for the past year and a half, maybe 2 years, is the guys in power, and namely Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley. And the Bulls have made their bed, and now they got to lay in it, man. And they deserve everything they're getting right now. I'm for the players all the time, so I hate to go against DeMar and Kobe and those guys who, we have a pretty good relationship with. But, I mean, the Bulls just are not a good team, and last night was a culmination of it all. The Pistons have 9 wins this year. 2 of them have come against the Bulls, and the Bulls' worst 2 performances of the season have come against the Pistons. So I was not surprised at what took place in the United Center last night.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate. It's just this team. And what was the feel? Because they couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat yesterday. They couldn't hit the side of a barn. All right, but from beyond the arc, they were just horrendous. Kobe was 0 for, if I'm not mistaken.
0 for 5.
Yeah. What was going through your mind when they couldn't hit a 3?
So this is another thing that this is a monkey see, monkey do league, man. So everybody tried to adopt the Golden State Warriors philosophy of shooting a 3, and that's
seems like Gino froze up on us a little bit. Gino. Gino, let's see.
We back.
I can hear you. Go ahead. You're frozen, but I can hear you. Okay, you're back.
Okay, there we are. Am I good?
You're frozen, but I can hear you.
It's good.
Okay.
Looks good on my it looks good on my end, but yeah, the personnel, man. It's a personnel issue when you try to compete with teams that actually have the person.
He just dropped. He'll come back on when we get a shot. The Bulls were 2 for 29 yesterday. 2 for 29 from beyond the arc. You ain't gonna win. I mean, I think that was the downfall. If you hit 6 for 29, see, we should have him back. Let's see. Gino, you hear me? Hold on. He's back. No, not. Goodness gracious. Try to add him one more time. Oh, you know what? Try and log out. And so, yeah, try and log out and log in one more time, Gino, because I can get you on the screen, but it's black and we're not. It's all dark and I'm not able to hear you on that. So try and log out and log back in, if you don't mind. One more time. Yeah, I don't know why it's acting crazy. So we'll try it. There we go. Perfect. There you go.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
Sorry about that. I don't know if it's my internet or not. If it is, I've always had a problem with Xfinity, but it's all good, man. But like I was saying, in short, man, it's a personnel issue with me. The Bulls last night, they set an NBA. They go down in NBA history as having the worst 3-point field goal percentage in the game with a team that attempted at least 28 threes. They were 2 for 29. Like you said, Kobe White was 0 for 5. A lot of guys were 0 for. The only 2 makes were Dalen Terry, a guy who rarely shoots the 3, who rarely shoots the ball in general. He made one. And then the second worst 3-point shooter in the NBA, which is Nikola Vucevic, he made one. So to be honest, man, the United Center is a funny place. And this is something that me and you have talked about on several occasions. It's like, hey, man, as long as it's 20,000, in the United Center every night, it's a business at the end of the day. I know the ball game is secondary. Fans come to that arena to enjoy themselves, to have a night out, to be entertained. And if they can leave, if fans can leave that arena entertained at the end of the night, then job well done. The basketball game is secondary. If the Bulls pull out a W, cool. If not, cool. But as long as we leave here entertained, as long as we get to see the Jordan statue in the atrium, as long as we get to feel the aura of the 6-ring Bulls, then everything is good. So again, man, the United Center is a funny place to be at, especially when we watch this product for the last 3 years that's just getting worse and worse and worse. And until Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley can admit that their first go round as the guys in charge of turning this thing around has been a failure, then I'm going to keep hammering it home.
It's a failure to whom? That's the
Exactly.
Because,
Exactly.
and Mark, when they talked to AK, the thing that he kept repeating was, he wanted to be competitive. If you're competitive, and like you said, as long as that place is selling out, fans come for the experience. You know what I'm saying? You come for the aura. You come for the Jordan statue. You come for Benny throwing popcorn on an unlucky fan. You come for all that stuff. You come for the Asian ladies, tossing up dishes and during a commercial break. You know what I mean? All that stuff and all the lights and the glitz and the glamour. You come for all that, and you're entertained. And then when that's the case, people are still filing in. So if you're looking at it from Reinsdorf's perspective, and somebody asked Arturas, they said, "Do you think your bosses are happy with you?" He said, "Yeah, you're damn right, they're happy.
Yeah,
they're filling the seats." So how soon do you think his seat is going to get warm before it gets warm? Because if they're happy, his seat it's not hot, it's not even warm.
Well, you know just as well as I do, especially being a Sox fan, that Jerry Reinsdorf is loyal. So I don't think his seat is going to be hot anytime soon, especially as long as the checkbook is going in the right direction. Everything is fine. So again, the only way to affect change for the fan base is to hit them in the pockets, and that's by not showing up to the stadium. That's by not buying merchandise from that team store inside of the United Center. That's by not tuning in to NBC Sports Chicago. And I know it's hard for a lot of fans because for most of us, this is an outlet. People work hard. And that's another thing. People spend their hard-earned dollars going to these games and to these events, and they're not cheap. For most families, this is a once-a-year outing, man. So that's the only way in my eyes. But again, I feel like most fans, they don't really – again, we talk about this, Shawn. Basketball is one of those sports where you can just be a fan, and you don't have to worry about everything else that's going on. You just want to be entertained for 2 hours and 30 minutes and then go on about your business. Unless you're a diehard and you really care about salary caps and what's really going on behind the scenes, and I feel like that's not most fans. So you spoke the gospel, man. As long as they're entertained at the end of the day, especially coming to the UC, nothing has to change. So again, I said it a couple weeks ago. The telltale sign of where this organization and where this thing is headed is going to come this summer when the Bulls re-signed DeMar DeRozan. It was set in stone when they re-signed Nikola Vucevic to that 3-year deal, and it's letting you know that Arturas just doesn't want to give up on what he thought he had from the beginning. When you think about maxing out Zach LaVine, and you think about Lonzo Ball, who if you saw yesterday, I don't know if it was The Athletic or if it was Joe Cowley or who it was, but, Zoe still hasn't began sprinting. And while Billy Donovan said he's not really worried about that, a source close to whoever put the story out said that there's a big concern that it might be over with for Zoe. So, man, this thing is just, it keeps getting worse and worse. And, again, I'm not going to let up on the guys in charge, which are AK and Mark Eversley.
Well, great minds think alike. And, guys, we're joined by Eugene McIntosh from the Bigs. We're talking Bulls basketball. here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Great minds think alike, because that was going to be my very next question. What do you do with DeMar? He wants to come back. He's been a good soldier. He's conformed, and in his up and down style of ball that he wants to play, and so you think they re-sign him, and if you do, for how long? What's the term?
You 100%. They 100% re-sign him. I don't think the market. He's definitely not going to get the money he's looking for anywhere else. He loves Chicago. It's a known fact how much he loves Chicago. He's big in the locker room. He's big on the young guys. When you think about Kobe and Io and Pat Will and those guys, he's big, with them. He'll show up to Io's fundraising event and stuff like that.
Right.
Stuff that Zach LaVine probably wouldn't do. So a lot of that stuff off the court is big as well. But on the court, while he's been here, 25 a game, close to 50% from the field, go-to man down the stretch. He will be 35 years old. So, obviously this is a young man's game. DeMar has stood the test of time, but the saying, Father Time is undefeated. So when you think about them just staying competitive and trying to run this thing back, Zach LaVine is going to come back, because we already know what his market value is. So ain't nobody taking that money and putting it on their books. So look forward to seeing this thing come back again. And I would say maybe 2 years, 60 mil, maybe 3 for 90, something around that, 30 mil a year. And man, fans got to live with it, man. DeMar, fans like DeMar. He saw the 360 layup last night. He still was so glad to the old DeMar. But at the end of the day, this team is they're nowhere close. And another thing, I know the play-in tournament is cool, but you're rewarding losing, man. You're rewarding losers. And again, there are a lot of situations that can take place this season that will fit the narrative of Arturas Karnisovas being competitive. When he can sit there, and the Bulls are probably going to end up in 9th place. Trae Young is out for the next month or so. So I don't think the Hawks are going to catch him. And unless the Bulls hit one of the worst slides in NBA history, they'll probably end up in 9th. And again, staying competitive and making a run. He can look at that Miami Heat run from last year, being a play-in team and making it all the way to the finals. But that's a team that's built, a team and an organization that's built on structure, that's built on culture, that's, they have a foundation. The Bulls don't have any of that. So those narratives are out there to fit, whatever way Arturas Karnisovas wants to go. So yeah, man, DeMar DeRozan will be back as a Bull for the next 2 or 3 years, and the Bulls will stand pat as a play-in caliber team.
Well, that's unfortunate, and again, like you said, it's a business. It's a business, and the business isn't necessarily winning a championship. It's as long as you're in the black. Once you get in the red, then there's a problem. If you're in the black, far enough in the black, man, it don't matter what's on the court. What about Pat? What about P. Will? All right, he's coming up, and his development has just been really, really, really delayed and slowed. What your thoughts on P. Will at the end of the season?
Oh man, again, back to the guys in charge. It's like, and I like P. Will. I saw the skill set. Maybe it was a little raw, a little underdeveloped when he got here. But again, when you talk about an organization that probably has the smallest player development situation in the NBA, the Bulls have never been an organization where you see like the San Antonio Spurs or the Memphis Grizzlies or teams like that who find these diamonds in the rough and develop, and they become maybe not stars of the league, but they become some of those guys. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at P. Will, I just think the Bulls were moving too fast. They always overplay their hand, man. And think about the injury. When you think about his foot injury, Zach LaVine foot injury, Torrey Craig foot injury, Joakim Noah foot injury. What's this? It's something about the Bulls, man. And me and the guys, we always talk about it being the Jordan curse. We had it so good in the 90s. Now it's payback time. So I ain't really one of those guys. It's just a running joke we have. But it's just every year is something different with this team. And now your lottery pick going into his fourth year, and the development, like you said, is basically been at a standstill. I think it's part on Pat Williams, but I think most of it is the Bulls player development system and just them overplaying their hands. So I hope P. Will is good to go for next year. He was really, he's one of those soft-spoken guys, so I could see it in his face, how disappointed he was that he wouldn't be able to be out there with his guys. But again, I'm putting this all on the organization, man. This is an organizational failure at its peak, and like I said, the Bulls have made their bed and they got to lay in it every single night, man.
Mark Eversley is up for the GM position in another place. What's your thoughts of him getting out of town quick, fast, in a hurry?
I think it would be their best bet. I think when you think about the success that those guys had in their roles in Toronto and Denver, this ain't Toronto and Denver. This is the third largest market in sports, and you got to treat it like that. And I think Arturas was in over his head when he got here. But again, he had these talks. I'm pretty sure they had plenty talks, him and Jerry and him and Mike, because Mike is really the guy in charge right now. They had plenty of talks, and I'm pretty sure Arturas knew coming in here that his leash was going to be longer than most because of the way Jerry handles his business with the people he puts in charge. So I think it would be in Mark Eversley's best interest to go and try to find success elsewhere where the stakes aren't as high. And he can go to one of those small markets and implement, his type of strategy and get another team like the Toronto Raptors in position to make a run at the ship. But here in Chicago, it hasn't worked so far, and I don't see anything in the immediate future that's gonna sway me otherwise. So Arturas Karnisovas can follow him as well.
Last question before we let you go, man. I always appreciate your time, man.
No doubt.
Kobe, real quick, talk to me about his development. I asked you that before. Yesterday might have just been an anomaly. It happens, it happens to everybody. But talk to me on his development and how you like it, and where do you think his development could literally end? I mean, where could it be? Where's the ceiling? What's the ceiling you think for Kobe White?
I think Kobe. We've seen glimpses of Kobe. Right now, he's on a cold streak post All-Star break. He was 2 for 14 last night. I think he's 6 of 23 from the three since the All-Star break. 16 of 39, I think overall, or 16 of 43, something like that post All-Star break. So, let's just looking at Kobe right now. This is something he's never done before. I think by tonight or Friday against Milwaukee, he will have played the most minutes in his career with 22, 23 games left to play in the season. So I'm pretty sure the physical toll has taken the physical part has taken a toll on him, as well as mentally when you're coming in and now you're the main subject on the scouting report, on the other team's scouting report. So I'm pretty sure physically and mentally it's taken its toll on him. But Kobe's one of those strong-willed guys. He Drew Stevens, our other guy, asked him last night, about the toll it's taking. And Kobe's like, yeah, it's taking a toll, especially physically, because I'm not able to work out as much. I spend a lot of time in recovery more than anything. So, I'm not worried about Kobe. I think what would be best for the Bulls is to just blow this thing up. You let Ayo Dosunmu, you let Dalen Terry, you let Julian Phillips, you let these young guys who you drafted over the past couple of years, you let them play as much as they can, and you see what you have in those guys, and you take it from there. But again, that's why me and you are doing what we do, and Arturas and Eversley and those guys are doing what they do, and they're going to bring back, those core old guys and kind of stifle these guys' progress. But I think Kobe, since he has the keys right now, I don't think his development will be stifled anymore. So I'm looking forward to Kobe taking the next step. He may not win Most Improved Player this year. He should be in the top 3 vote getters, but I've been impressed with what I've seen from Kobe. And, he's going to have those hot and cold shooting nights. But like I said, I've been impressed. So he should be the main guy for the Bulls moving forward.
I agree, man. I love what he's done and what he's turned into and who he's turned into. Um, I love it. I love it. Hey, Gino, I appreciate it, Papa, as always, man. Thank you so much for coming on. But before you go, let everybody know where they can find you and your work online.
Man, same old, man. Find us on Twitter at It's The Bigs, Instagram at It's The Bigs. Me personally at Stay Humble on Twitter, or just Google The Bigs, man. We got the website, we got the content on YouTube. And, shout out to the guys, man. Herb Howard on that Bears beat with you, Shawn, man. I love how you keep your foot on these internet geeks' necks out there, man. These podcasters that think they know everything, and the fans that just suck it up, pause, like it's the gospel. You know what I'm saying? So, man, stay on their necks, man. I'm riding with you. I'm glad they finally got you in the building. Some guys that played the game at a high level, some guys who have coached the game at a high level and know the game of football outside of some what's my word?
Other people.
Oh man, don't even get me started. But yeah, man, just Google the Bigs and we all over the place, man. So I appreciate you always reaching out. I'm a phone call or a text away, man.
Last question. How happy are you that Belly's back?
It was inevitable, man. The Jed Hoyer and Tom, they were gonna hear it, man. They were gonna hear it if Belly didn't set foot back in Wrigley, man. But I think for me, it was a good deal for both sides.
Hell yeah.
Obviously, those days of 6, 7, 8 years, them days are coming down to an end. And the funniest thing about it all is the way these owners are trying to bleed Scott Boras out, man. You see, you still got Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell and Matt Chapman still out there. So if I think the Cubs were like, hey man, take a look at Carlos Correa last year. Take that six for 200 and live with it. So Belly just cut it in half. Take this 3. I think the opt-out clause was good. And I'm pretty sure Scott Boras is banking on him to have another even better year than last year so they can go and renegotiate, whether it's back in Chicago or somewhere else. So I'm happy to see Belly back. We'll probably be at spring training in a couple of weeks, and it's baseball time, baby.
Yeah, I just called my guy yesterday, as a matter of fact. I didn't get a hold of him. I was like, hey, 2 weeks. I said, let me know, because he just got married, so I don't know if his wife's people are coming to town, because they would always come to town right around St. Patty's Day when I was thinking about going. I'm like, let me know so I can get my ticket if I can stay with him. So I might be heading out to Arizona as well. If we're out there together, definitely hit you up, dog.
100%, man. Let's do it.
All right, man. Thanks again. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
No doubt. Much love, my brother.
All right, now. Guys, that's Eugene McIntosh from the Bigs, talking Bulls basketball, talking little Cubs. He's a huge Cub fan. He actually was a college baseball player. He did play college baseball. But let's take a real quick break. And on the other side of the break, we're going to talk. Man, the internet is a buzz. It's on fire with RyanPoles, Matt Eberflus's comments, and that dude who looked like Justin Fields saying, I'm going home. But it wasn't him. But anyway, we're going to talk about that with our guy. Man, finally glad to have him back, and I caught him right smack dab in the middle of his busy season. My man EJ Snyder on the other side of the break, so don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Off the fake. Fields against the grain. Finds Jesse James. Field. With time. Delivers down the field. And Cowboys. Still running. Made one way. Fields stumbling. Trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown.
911, operator 901. Where's the emergency?
127 Brynmere.
Okay, what's going on there?
I'd like to order a pizza for delivery.
Ma'am, you've reached 911. This is an emergency line.
Large with half pepperoni, half mushroom.
You've called 911. This is an emergency line.
Do you know how long it'll be?
Okay, ma'am, is everything okay over there? Do you have an emergency or not?
Yes.
and you're unable to talk because...
Right.
Is there someone in the room with you? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like I have an officer about a mile from your location. Are there any weapons in your house?
No.
Can you stay on the phone with me?
No. See you soon. Thank you.
Hey, it's your. I've been looking at quarterbacks all my life. And I know what a good quarterback looks like, and what's hard on the defense. And a guy that has the ability to create, a guy that has the ability to throw with timing and accuracy, and the guy that can move the ball on the field when it's critical moments, like on 3rd down, 2 minute, and all those critical moments. So I've always looked at I look at situations. I look at the guys that can operate 3rd down, 2 minute, in the end of the game situations. That to me is that's a separator for me. And then you look at toughness. You got to look, and toughness for a quarterback really is about the mental toughness to be able to stand in the pocket and deliver the ball, and then also have the discernment to be able to move out of the pocket and create when it's necessary.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. That was Coach Matt Eberflus talking about his ideal quarterback, what he sees as a good quarterback, and some of those things were not Justin Fields. Some of those things are not Justin Fields. It's not necessarily his fault. Some are not. But in the big scheme of things, the totality of it, he hasn't performed as we would like, or the Bears would have liked in the fourth quarter. And was that a telltale sign? I don't know. I don't know. My next guest, man, is a good friend of the program. All right, he has been busy as a beaver, you best believer. Man, it's draft time, and this is literally right in his wheelhouse. A 3-2 fastball for him, and he's knocking it out of the park. He's all over the place. He's a draft analyst at Windy City Gridiron. He also hosts the Bootleg Football podcast, as well as the Bears Over Beers podcast. And you can find him on Twitter at Football EJ. Let's welcome back my man, EJ Snyder. EJ, what's up, Papa? Good morning. How we doing?
We are awake and rolling. We don't have the greatest voice, but no, life's good. Middle of the NFL Combine, my first Combine in person, which is always fascinating because there's a lot that goes on that people aren't aware of. Yeah. But it is, yesterday was electric in the hall. Like, the Bears are running this place not only because they have the number 1 overall pick, they also have Justin Fields. They have a ton of free agency money. Poles and Eberflus, and really anybody with a Bears jacket on can't walk anywhere without 6 people grabbing them. So it's a very busy time. It's exciting, but no, I'm happy to be back on.
Good to talk to you. Believe me, I'm excited to have you, man, because I respect what you do, and got to meet you. And it's always good when you meet the man, right? As opposed to here, unfortunately we don't meet in Bourbonnais anymore, but that's neither here nor there. So talk to me. A lot of people. I think RyanPoles is putting on a master's class in how to be a GM. I think he's got everybody. I mean, he said a whole lot without saying a whole lot. He said a lot. He gave both sides, pro Justin, pro Caleb. He gave both sides a lot of sound bites to take back and run and say, ha ha, Caleb fans, ha ha, see. And he gave Caleb fans saying, ha ha, Justin, see. I think he literally split it down the middle. Your thoughts on his comments yesterday, and that set the NFL world and definitely Bears Twitter on fire.
Look, you can't say anything right now that's not going to inflame this debate. You know this. You've been living in the middle of this for the last couple of months. No matter what you say about either side, either quarterback, it really is going to be heard by the listener depending on their own filter and their own preference, quite frankly. So I haven't been saying a lot about it because it's not particularly useful right now, and we're going to see what happens. Yesterday, I think, was the clearest indication of what is going to happen. Now, as far as the way RyanPoles is running it right now, I agree with you. And a lot of people are saying, why is he saying this? Why doesn't he just do this? Why doesn't he just do that? That's what being a GM in the NFL is. Right now, he is taking offers for Fields. Doesn't mean he's going to trade Fields. I think he will. But he is doing what he needs to do. He is doing the best thing for his football team. He is going out and saying, what will you pay? What will you pay? What can I get from you? How can I leverage this? If I do this, he has to have all those things in the hopper. He has to have an accurate take on that. And if he comes out immediately and says one way or the other, I'm keeping him, I'm trading him, whatever. That's going to limit half of that discussion. So he has worked, I would say, diligently to keep that discussion open, as he should. I think we're going to come to a close with that. The week after the combine is the natural time for that to sort of pick a path, say this is the best thing we've got going forward. That means we're doing, because how these two things are locked together.
Yeah.
As soon as you say one of them, the other one is pretty much decided, right? As soon as you say we're taking a quarterback at 1, the next question is, great, where's Justin going and what are you getting for him? Or if you say we're keeping Justin, great, what are you trading the number 1 pick for? Like, they're just, you can't say one without the other. So he's just kind of, like you said nothing, kept it open, talked to all his peers. He's doing that a lot. Again, he was in the room 20 minutes yesterday and he was on his 3rd interview. Like, he is literally from place to place to place. And Eberflus the same thing. Like, as soon as he left the podium, he had the scrum. As soon as he left the scrum, he went to Sirius. As soon as he left Sirius, like, those guys are just on it as soon as they enter that space.
Yeah, and you know what? And people, like I said, a couple of things he said. They talk about, he said doing right by Justin, and then the pro Caleb, like, see, you don't talk about a quarterback like that if you're going to trade him. And I'm like, he was asked a specific question.
Yeah.
It's not he came out and said, I want to do right by him. And again, I get it. I'm a pro Justin guy. All right. However, I'm anxious. I'm anxious to see how it plays out, because I look at it as like, okay, if he wants to get the most, and I go back to what his initial statements when he first got here, and he said, I want to build through the draft and get the biggest haul. And he talked about it yesterday. He goes, we're going to get a haul similar or bigger than we had last year, which was a nice haul. How do I make that more? How do I make my pick more valuable? By having everybody think that I want to hold on to it. I mean, the only way I'm going to come off it is you got to give me a hell of a lot more than I got last year for me to come off it, which is why I'm saying this guy is showing you in real time, giving you a master's class in how to be a GM, and I love it. Your thoughts? I know you said you think he's going to trade Justin, and you think do you think it's that simple? Justin take Caleb, or there's a lot of talk about Drake May has stepped up above him in certain things, or Jaden Daniels is a little more like Justin Fields. You have the infrastructure. How do you think it's going to go? After the combine? Your thoughts?
I believe Justin will be traded. I don't know where yet. There were some comments that came out yesterday. Haven't been able to verify those in terms of Atlanta being very interested. We knew Atlanta would be interested. They're one of the natural sort of suitors for Fields. They need a quarterback. They are in a position in the draft where if they stay put, they're probably going to be taking the 4th best quarterback in the draft. If they didn't choose to move up. So, they have very natural leverage to be interested. There were some interesting comments about what that might happen. But overall, I believe Justin Fields will be traded. I believe it will be soon. Next 2 days, next 3 days, maybe. Like, by the time the combine is over, I very much believe that they will announce, because, Shawn, this is like putting a stick in a river. Stuff starts building up behind it. And as soon as a front office has made a decision, like, if I hear about things, I'm not at the top of the food chain for the NFL rumor mill. Like, I definitely hear some things, but if I've heard what might be going on, lots and lots of other people have heard, and lots of other people are making plans. So and again, that's one of the reasons Poles hasn't declared this publicly. But when this starts to get to the point where it teeters and it leans and there's a decision coming, it will be out fairly soon. That's what he means by not having Justin live in the gray, having, certainty about what the Bears draft strategy is, what other teams' draft strategies are. So I think Fields will be traded, and I believe the Bears will pick Caleb at 1. And that's, you can say what you like about whether you like that or you think it's smart or you think it's dumb or whatever else. I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Is there a scenario where you see that they do both, that they trade the number 1 overall pick, get a haul, and then go after and then trade Justin, so you even get more draft capital, because we don't know how. Everybody loves Caleb, and he's the presumed number 1 overall pick. But if you trade down to if you trade with Washington, you get something, and you could still get maybe you like Jaden Daniels. Maybe they do. Maybe they something. Do you see a situation where the Bears do that and they'll get a whole bunch more picks, or do you just think, nah, it's not happening? It's Caleb and then, trade Justin?
I believe that they'll listen. Again, they'll continue to listen. But I don't believe in the end that will happen. Look, I had dinner the other night with an analyst here whose work I really deeply respect, and he's got Jaden Daniels as his QB1. Now, I don't. I think Jaden Daniels is very good. He's definitely going to be in my second tier. As you know, I do tiers. The placement within the tier is less important than being in a tier. Jaden Daniels is absolutely in the second tier, and that's not a backhanded compliment. I think Caleb is a better quarterback than him, and therefore, Caleb's my 1. He's in a tier by himself. And then I'm going to have somewhere between 2 and 3 other quarterbacks in tier 2. Daniels will absolutely be in there. He is tremendously talented. He is explosive through the air, on the ground. He is going to get drafted very high. People should just get used to that. Will the Bears take a haul to move off number 1? Only if, after meeting with Caleb multiple times, they decide he is not the guy as a person. Because as a player, he's a potential super weapon. In terms of his bona fides on the field for what he can do with the football, he is the type of athlete that you need to compete in the modern NFL. So that's not up for question. But if they say, because that's not the only thing in play with the number 1 overall pick, you got to have a guy that's going to represent your franchise. You got to have a leader. You got to have a guy that you're comfortable with in terms of the offense and his ability to learn and everything else. And you have to be you can't be more certain than you have to be with the number 1 overall pick. It has to be every box. So if the Bears throughout this process, and I'm not saying they have or haven't, I don't know, if they were to come to that, yes, then maybe they would look at that historic haul for moving off it. But they've made it very clear that they're going to make it painful to give that pickup. They've basically come out and told other teams, look, it's not going to be fair. We're going to soak you. So other teams have to come in knowing they're going to pay an extreme premium, not only because it's the number 1 overall pick, not only because it's going to be a quarterback, but also because it's a good quarterback class, and you have to overpay to get that pick.
Guys, we're joined by EJ Snyder, senior draft analyst for Windy City Gridiron, talking Bears football here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. My guy Cornelius has a question. I was going to ask the same question, but we get up on the screen. If he comes in, is he starting right away, or should he sit for a year, get a veteran quarterback and have him sit and get him some series throughout the year, maybe start the last 2 or 3 games? Your thoughts on if Caleb is drafted, sit or start him right away?
It's a great question. Again, in the modern NFL, you're going to start him. There isn't a way, especially after what CJ did last year in Houston, to spend that much institutional capital. And that's what it represents. The number 1 overall pick in the draft, for folks that aren't familiar with draft values and how they stack, the number 1 overall pick is a nuclear bomb. It holds so many more points than even picks in the teens, and certainly any pick in any round after 1. It is overwhelmingly top heavy. You cannot spend that pick on a quarterback for a team that needs a quarterback and not play him, especially after what Stroud achieved last year in Houston. I'm not saying the results are going to be the same. I hope they are, but obviously a different situation with D'Amico and Bobby Slowick and all those guys. But does Caleb have the potential to be at that level or near that level? He does. He has that potential for sure. As we all know, landing spot, super duper important. So I think in maybe some ideal worlds, people might say, hey, he shouldn't play for a year. And people will bring up, lots of examples, even ones from the division. Jordan Love, Mahomes. Those are very differently run organizations, and they were in very different situations quarterback-wise when they took their picks. But look at the Texans. They did not have the quarterback they wanted. They spent a very high pick to go up and get one. They said, we are starting from game 1, and they got there. So that's the, I would say, most ultra-modern precedent. He's going to see the field.
How comfortable are you? Because I think for me personally, I know, and I think everybody understands, even the Caleb cult. All right, they have no problem saying, yeah, Justin got a raw deal. All right,
yeah,
lame duck quarterback, tear down his second year.
The Bears have not handled their situation at quarterback well for the last 2 go rounds. So, and it's been very similar, which is difficult. It didn't work the first time, and you did it the same way the second time. Why did you do that? And a lot of people are looking at this and saying, are you setting it up to do it the third time in a row? And if so, why?
How confident are you in this new offensive scheme that it won't happen to Justin if he stays, or it won't happen to Caleb if they draft him, that this quarterback is coming into a much better situation than the previous two quarterbacks who were with lame duck coaches? Not saying that Matt Eberflus is a lame duck, but you know where I'm going.
I do know where you're going. Being in the Pacific Northwest, I've seen plenty of Shane Waldron's offense. I like it. I don't love it, but I like it, and I believe it will be better than what Getsy brought for the last couple of years. Ask me again after the Bears draft a center, like up high, or sign one in free agency. I need somebody in the middle of that Bears line. Like 2 years ago, I understand why Poles didn't do it. Last year, as you know, I was hardcore. The Bears are getting a center because I saw their tape, they saw their tape, and I thought we saw that the same way, and we clearly didn't because they said, we're cool. We can roll in with Luke Patrick. And I thought that was a terrible miscalculation. Turned out that it was. There needs to be some stability in the middle of that offensive line. I think there will be. I like the young tackles. I like the guards when they're healthy, but you got to get a center. You got to get a swing guard. You can't go through the same thing you've done with putting any quarterback, Caleb or anybody else, in front of a leaky offensive line and saying, run for your life and make it good.
What do you do with that center position then? You sign a kid from a young man from Seattle, and then you draft JCP, or what do you do? Because it gives you.
That's a fantastic question. It depends a lot again on the next couple of days, and if they do trade Justin, I'm going to say if. I think they're gonna, but if they do, what pick do you get, and are you willing to sit there? And I really believe there's two starting caliber centers in this draft, and I think they're going to go earlier than people think they are because the centers went earlier last year. And teams are starting to realize you need that position. Last year, I thought Juice Scruggs out of Penn State was a great center. I had him at the top of the 4th round, and most of the people that saw him at Shrine with me said, yeah, he's a really good center. Top of the 4th round is great because that was a traditional round to take a center in. Juice Scruggs went in the 2nd to Houston, and we all went, what? And that is the premium. If you wait, you will not get one of those guys. So you got JPJ from Oregon, had a great Senior Bowl, really good young player, like him a lot. I believe he's probably going to go in the late teens, top 20s, which is not a place where the Bears have a pick. So he's going to be off the board. And then there's Zach Frazier from West Virginia, who is coming off a broken leg, kind of the Eddie Jackson treatment, right? He's out of sight, out of mind. He was dominant when he was healthy. It's not an injury that's going to affect him. But I believe he's going to go either late 1st or top of the 2nd before the Bears would have a pick. Say if they got Atlanta's 2nd round pick, which would be 8th in the round, I believe he'll be off the board. So that's the question. Do you move up? Do you try and trade back with 9, get some other picks, pick a center and some other players, or how that all plays out? And if you don't get one of those two guys in the draft, the drop off is probably down to about Cedric Van Pram. He's probably going to go, even if he goes a little bit sooner than I think in the 70s or 80s, again, the Bears would have a shot at him, but are you going to start basically a run-heavy center who did play at Georgia? He's a good player, in front of Caleb? There's going to be the brightest spotlight on that player. And every time he lets the pressure through, people are going to be like, what are you going to do? So if you don't do that, I think you probably have to go out in free agency, spend a bunch of money, get an established center, whether that's Cushenberry, whether that's, there's a couple of decent centers this year in free agency. But you cannot not address that position and expect your offense to work. You've watched what's happened in Chicago for the last 2 years. When the inside of that line breaks down, nothing's going to work consistently.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
What about you didn't mention? What about the guy from Seattle? It was Evan. What's the last name?
I like him. I think he's fine. I think he's better than Lucas Patrick. That's not a high bar to jump over after the last couple of years. But I think there are better options. And I argue with my buddy Brad Spielberger about this, who works for PFF all the time. He does the free agency contract stuff, and he believes in center. He's a Bears fan as well. He believes in center, but like a little bit less than I do. And I'm like, Brad, you gotta crank it up. You got to do it sooner. You got to put more priority on it because you've seen what happens when you don't get there. So I like him. I think he's fine. But I don't want fine. I want solid. I want young. I want dependable. And that's either the top of the draft, like way higher than people think you quote unquote should draft a center, or you pay a bunch of money in free agency, which the Bears can do, but you can't go forward and not address it anymore.
What about the tackle spot? Are you okay with Braxton Jones at the left tackle? I mean, he got much better from 21 to 22, or 22 to 23, I should say. He got stronger because obviously everybody knew his Achilles heel was the bull rush, and so he was able to anchor better. Still not great, but it was only 1 year. I mean, you usually can't fix a major flaw like that in one off season. Are you good with that, or do you think about taking, Olu or somebody? I know you won't get Joe Alt, but any or those two, but and a solid left tackle. Or are you good with him for another year?
I like the young tackles. Do I think there are some better options in this draft? Yes, but like you said, with fixing a player's game, you also can't fix a roster. And the Bears are not one player away on either side of the ball. They're multiple players away on both sides of the ball, and they have the means to fix that. But left tackle is an incredibly expensive position, and I don't care whether you're talking about free agency, I don't care whether you're talking about contract extension, or whether you're talking about the draft. You're going to have to pay a premium to get a left tackle. I think Braxton Jones is a good young player, and I think he will look much better with consistent support. An offensive line is only as strong as the weakest part. And there have been a lot of weak parts for the Bears. If you sort of shore up those holes, I think people will come in time to look at Braxton Jones and say, he's stable, he's solid, he's got some ability, he's definitely affordable, and you can work with that. Whereas if you don't put support next to him, yes, he's a young player who was also trying to fix his own flaws. But if a player is playing outside of himself and trying to do a job and a half, especially in the offensive line, there's going to be failures. So I like the young tackles. Would I like a third tackle? I would. I'm not wild about the third tackle spot, but again, that's not a top of the draft consideration. That's down the board, getting somebody who your offensive line coach says, hey, I like the traits, and we're going to give him a year to, again, get stronger, work on his feet, whatever it is. And there's a bunch of those guys in this draft, but do I pick a tackle up high? Probably not. But last year I said they were going to pick a center, and they didn't. So here we go.
Oh, guys, we're joined by EJ Snyder, senior draft analyst at Windy City Gridiron, also the on the Bootleg Football podcast and Bears Over Beers podcast as well. We're talking Bears football here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. What about the tight end position? Are they going to address that? And if they do, where? This is where for me, it doesn't make sense. Like, the Caleb thing, like you get so many picks and there's a lot of holes. We're not one player away. And I understand the quarterback's the most important part. But I'm like, man, you can address this guy, and not necessarily first. I mean, you're going to have two firsts in, the next 2 or 3 seasons, but you're also going to have more seconds. And those are the swing spots. And sweet spots. And when you get your first 22 made a first and second rounders, your team is going to be much better. And so where do we go with the tight end spot? Like, I'd love to get a second round tight end. All right. Not a 4th or 5th or 6th, definitely not Adam Shaheen again. But
you had to. I had to go there.
I had to go there. And I couldn't remember his last name, and it came to me just as Adam Shaheen. So where do they do that? Because Cole Kmet is solid. Maybe even a little better than solid, maybe above average tight end. I would put him at definitely not average, above average. But you got no one on the other side. Robert Tonyan. I mean, we can't forget that Cleveland mishap, and he never really did anything else. So what do we do with the tight end position?
Yeah, it's TE2 is a spot to address. Could be free agency, could be the draft. If you are looking for somebody solid, and I think they probably are, largely because Waldron loves tight ends. Like, he used 2 and 3 tight ends with great effect in Seattle, and he's got a good group. So obviously the arrows point to some of his guys. Noah Fant is, a speed tight end. He would complement Kmet very well. He's going to be a free agent, so a lot of people are drawing that line together.
From Seattle, right?
Yeah, and Colby Parkinson as well, his second or third tight end, who was a guy I liked coming out of Stanford when he came out. Huge guy that can really run, and again is going to be available for a more reasonable contract. He might be more like a TE3, but in terms of the draft, there's really 2 guys at tight end up high in the draft. Obviously, Brock Bowers is going to go early. I don't believe he'll go top 10, but that's not his fault. I think he's definitely worthy of being a top 10 player, talent-wise, but picking a tight end in the top 10 in the NFL is not financially viable. because the slot salaries are fixed. And if you pick a tight end in the top 10, you're automatically paying him like as the fourth or
money,
fifth. Yeah, the fourth or fifth best tight end in the NFL. So it's not Brock Bowers' fault, but I think teams will probably let him slip outside the top 10. Again, he's an absolute difference maker. He's a beast. I love him. I would love him to be a Bear. It's not going to happen, I don't think. And that's fine. And then the other one is Jatavian Sanders, JT Sanders out of Texas, who, in the next couple of days here at the Combine is going to remind everybody that he is only a consolation prize if you're considering Brock Bowers. In any other tight end draft, he would be TE1. He's a very big, smooth athlete that is a weapon in the passing game. I've seen him live twice over the last couple of years, games down in Texas. Really, really like JT Sanders. He could be a possibility again if they get, depending on what they get for Fields. I don't think the priority is there for TE2, but I would be extremely happy with the player with JT Sanders. But more than likely, it's probably going to get patched through free agency, and that's not a bad thing. There's some good options there this year.
What do the Bears do with the 9th pick? Do they trade back and accumulate more because they don't have a lot of draft picks to begin with? And we saw, again, another thing that shows me that Ryan, you know what I mean? And this is why I still think that, again, he's putting on that class. And, I think he's just because you need draft pick, you need draft capital. You don't have it. That first one gets you a haul. The second one gets you at least 2 picks, maybe 3.
Okay, I got a fun one for you, and this came up yesterday, and I hadn't heard it before, so I'll share it with you because it definitely opened my eyes. So, as you know, I like playing around in the mock draft pool. I had not started. I didn't start until about a week ago. I kept it really late this year. I was just busy, and I finally jumped in, both feet. I've probably run 10 or 12, and every time, if you stay at 9, with the exception of one time, which was just kind of a wild draft, Brock Bowers, Malik Neighbors, and Roma Dunze are all off the board at 9. They go at 8 consistently. Like usually it's a Dunze at 8. And then as the, virtual Bears, you're like, great, what am I going to do? That's really
second tier, everybody.
It's like, what? Yeah, are you going to get the 4th best wide receiver? Because MHJ obviously off the board, way up high. Are you going to get the 4th best wide receiver at the 9th overall pick? That doesn't make a ton of sense from draft capital, right? Now, all 3 of the guys I mentioned, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors out of LSU, and Roma Dunze out of UW, I believe are all top tier alpha wide receivers. And I would be happy with any of them. But again, they're just out of your reach at that 9th pick. And stop me if you've heard this before as a Bears fan, that you got the 9th pick and a really good player is going to go right before you. A little bit of flashback there. Yeah, but this is one I heard yesterday. Yeah. This is one I heard yesterday that got me really interested. So let's just say, again, we heard the Atlanta bump yesterday. We knew they were interested. Largely, the compensation has been a 2nd-round pick when people have been talking about that. And I think that's probably fair. If there are multiple teams, and there are, that are interested in Justin, that price is going to get bandied about. And again, RyanPoles is going to say, great, you're all talking about your 2nd-round picks. I know which of the 2nd-round picks is the highest. Do you have anything else for me? And Atlanta could say, we'll swap. You get 8, we get 9, and you get our 2nd-round pick. So the Bears would get Roma Dunze to pair with their quarterback. And I would be all freaking over that all day long.
So you swap.
You swap and you get the 2nd outright for Justin Fields. Now, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen because even that swap is a pretty serious upcharge. And there's going to have to be a very interested 2nd and 3rd suitor to drive that price up. Other than that, Atlanta is not just going to sort of give you a free leg up in the 1st round. They're going to sit and say, hey, we want to take Roma Dunze, which is typically what happens when you're running mock drafts. But if that were to happen, if RyanPoles was, again, able to play hardball, there were multiple suitors, everybody was involved, and he said, hey, how can you sweeten the pot? And Atlanta said, great, we'll go down 1 spot. We already have, our wide receiver 1. There's a lot of receivers in this draft. We could do this. That would be a huge swing for Chicago because it would put them in the range of getting one of these top wide receivers before they get out of that top 10. And then you've got DJ Moore, potentially Caleb Williams, and Roma Dunze as your passing threats, plus Kmet, plus linemen you're going to get some, TE2 and free agency. And pretty soon you're cooking with gas. Like you are avoiding the setup that happened to, both Trubisky and certainly to Fields early in their career, where they did not have a ton of targets and they suffered because of it. Like, that argument in that scenario gets taken care of pretty quickly.
I take offense to the fact that you say Dante Pettis wasn't a top major target.
Come on, man. Pettis was a local guy. I like Pettis. I mean, to me. And Odunze is too. For people that don't know Rome Odunze, if they didn't watch the national championship game or they didn't watch the playoffs or the whole season or the last 2 seasons, quite frankly, because I went to UW's Pro Day last year. And the junior guys, for everybody that's not familiar with pro days, it's when all the, senior or draft eligible guys are performing for scouts on campus. All the scouts come to campus and all the other teammates come to cheer them on, to like meet. They can't officially meet with scouts, but like meet with scouts,
get their name out there
and get used to the whole process so that when they're thinking that's going to be me next year, like everybody has their eyes on that prize. So we're all standing there. It's pretty deep. UW had a bunch of prospects last year. And even though there was stuff going on the field, even though the scouts were running the drills, literally when Rome walked in the building, like everybody turned and whispered. Everybody's like, there he is. There's Rome. That's Rome. Look at Rome. And he's like 6'3", blonde dreadlocks, right? And he's not easy to miss, but like everybody did like just stopped watching what happened on the field. You could tell he was the guy last year, and then he went out and had the season he had with Penix. Like, he's the real deal. Like, he is a very good wide receiver.
What about the defensive side of the ball? Do we need anything? I mean, safety, of course. We got one of your people up there is Dominique Hampton, is a freaking stud.
I like him, and he's going to be available like 4th round, like 4th, 5th round. I love Dom, but I don't think he's going to run well in the next couple of days. He's not that guy. And even my guy that covers UW, like that's one of his jobs. He's like, man, I feel like I don't know Dom Hampton years, and I feel like I don't know him. But I like him. And again, I think he'd be fine. But yeah, in terms of what Chicago needs on the defense, obviously safety, probably 2 safeties. If you look at the roster, it's not 1, it's 2. We're assuming that Jalen's staying in the fold and, not going to be traded. That I think would be wise. Both the young corners played well at the end of last year, Tyreek and Terrell. So that's a, leg up. Obviously the Bears spent heavily at linebacker and free agency, so they're not really going to do anything there. They got Montez Sweat. That changed their defense. Javon Dexter really came on as one of the 2 defensive tackles. But again, the Bears are still looking for their impact 3 tech. I believe that they will probably go after one of a couple of players in this draft to fill that role. And then you got to get an edge. And if you're not going to pick an edge up high, it's difficult. Now, there are guys that the Bears are looking at down the board, but those are sort of, you can't guarantee that's going to happen. And if it was me, I would say, yes, absolutely pick one of those guys, but also be looking at guys like Daniil Hunter. Huff is going to be available. He's going to command a premium after the season he had. But there are guys out there, and there's guys getting released. You saw it over the last couple of days. That pool's getting a little bit deeper. So that's good for the Bears. They're going to have a choice to put another bookend opposite Sweat. I think they need to. They need to get a 3 tech. And they need to get a safety. So that's what they're going to be focusing on defense, and we'll see how they make it happen.
Would they use the number 9 pick on an edge? What if what if Florida State's guy is there? And
it's difficult value-wise. There's edges I like in this draft. I like Verse. I don't love him. I like Latu, but we're going to see about the medicals. It's not the on-field production with me, Latu.
Right.
Like
That's
he's a beast. He is an absolute beast. I just finished my top 100 edge watches right before I came. And I already liked Latu. I loved Latu, and I try and go into it as cleanly as I can. I did him last so that I saw everybody else in that sort of top 10 edges first, and he's still that guy. Like, he's going to produce. He did it at Senior Bowl. He obviously did it at UCLA. His production numbers are insane. So I like Latu, but he's got to check out medically. He's not going to run super fast, which is going to work against him again at 9. So people talk about Johnny Newton. Again, it's a little rich for my blood at 9. Love the player, but he's probably a guy that's better suited for the 20. So look, if you could trade down, you could do that. It's really difficult. If I had to stick and pick at 9, if the nightmare scenario happens and the wide receivers are gone, you don't get that trade up to 8, and you're sitting at 9, and you're looking at the 4th best wide receiver, or again, edge is another impact position in the draft that you want to spend high draft capital on, I would probably take Dallas Turner. And he is raw, but he is an exceptional athlete. And he's not super raw. Like people have said, oh, he's raw. He's not as raw as people think. He is raw. He needs to continue to develop, but his tools are eye-popping. Like he could be the next Danielle Hunter. I mean,
you put him in with a guy like Montez Sweat or even Danielle Hunter if you draft him, which I'm hoping they do.
Yep.
I hear the Lions are after him, and I didn't like it financially, but I'm like, man, the Lions are. I said, oh, plus, and I looked. I said, plus the salary cap's supposed to be like $280 next year. So,
yeah.
We
big
have
bump in the salary cap.
I said, okay, so I'm liking the Bears going after Danielle Hunter because that makes their defense like minus safety. We're set. I think you know what I mean. I think the 3 tech is serviceable, and maybe Dexter takes a big jump and becomes
there's guys that you can get in this draft down the board at that role. I mean, we're talking about the 9 pick and saying it's a little rich, but you get down into the 80s and the 100s and like Leonard Taylor from Miami, he would be hand in glove as a fit, and you're going to be able to get him in probably the 3rd round, like top of the 3rd. So that's
like their nose tech
or
Billings.
lower.
I like Billings.
They
liked them. They extended them. They liked them that
Billings
much.
is great. I was very happy. That was a low key, like,
big
good
time
job
signing.
there.
Yeah.
Golf clap. Yeah, for sure.
That's like, well played, Mr. Poles. Well played.
Yes, indeed. We got to celebrate the hits. We got to celebrate the hits.
Yeah. Hey, EJ, awesome stuff today, man. I appreciate it. You know, man, I'd keep you on for another couple hours. I'm sure you got some draft
I gotta
to check out.
I got a bolt because I got to go do a hit for the Dolphins at the media center, and then I think another one after that. So these days are like that. They're one to the next. But hey, always want to take time. You were one of the first people to take time for me, well before you probably should have. Always appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Easiest way, head to YouTube, type in Bootleg Football. You'll see most of our draft content there. You can follow me on Twitter @FootballEJ and see most of the other hits. I don't know that I'll get them all up there because, again, it's hand to mouth for the next 3 days. And then, of course, you're supposed to stay up till 2 in the morning and close the steakhouse. So we'll see how it goes.
Great stuff, buddy. I appreciate your time, man. Have fun. And now, you know what? I'll probably see you down there starting next year. We were trying to get down there this year, and we applied too late. So
I would highly recommend it. It is a one-of-one experience. This is my first one live. Obviously, I've watched this event for,
years,
decade. It is very different in person. There's a lot going on, and what's on the field is probably the least important stuff.
Dude, great, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
All right. Take care, Shawn.
All right, EJ. Guys, that's EJ Snyder from Bootleg Football. Man, great stuff. And he thinks that Justin's going to be traded. A lot of people do. And then he talked about the edges and edge rushers and safeties. And Man. We're all on pins and needles. All right. We're all on pins and needles. The play from RyanPoles yesterday was big. Yeah. So we're going to see. Listen, let's take a really quick break. All right, really quick break. And on the other side, we'll wrap this thing up. All right, and put a nice little bow on it. So don't go anywhere, folks. Quick break. I said quick. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Off the fake. Fields against the grain. Finds Jesse James. Field. With time. Delivers down the field. And Cowboys. Still running. Big one-way and Fields stumbling. Trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown.
911, operator 901. Where's the emergency?
127 Brynmere.
Okay, what's going on there?
I'd like to order a pizza for delivery.
Ma'am, you've reached 911. This is an emergency line.
Large with half pepperoni, half mushroom.
You know you've called 911. This is an emergency line.
How long it'll be?
Okay, ma'am, is everything okay over there? Do you have an emergency or not?
Yes.
And you're unable to talk because...
Right.
Is there someone in the room with you? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like I have an officer about a mile from your location. Are there any weapons in your house?
No.
Can you stay on the phone with me?
No. See you soon. Thank you.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
When I'm flying, I put my helmet on, my visor down, my mask up. You don't know who I am. Whether I'm African American, Asian American, Hispanic, white, male or female. You just know I'm an American airman kicking your butt. I'm General C.Q. Brown Jr. Come join us.
The number one question is is Justin Fields.
Yep.
Where do things stand?
Yeah, so the one thing that's important for us is just continue to communicate and be transparent with Justin, and we'll continue to do that with him and his team. But we have to be open-minded about everything. What you do appreciate about Justin is his leadership, his mindset that he's had over the last 2 years. Things have not been easy, but his stability, his confidence in himself, his leadership has continued to grow as we've gone along, and that makes all of these decisions so complicated because I care about the guy a lot too. So I mentioned it before, no one likes to live in gray, right? You want to know, where am I going? Am I staying here? All of those things. So we'll continue to communicate, but he has done a great job just getting better every single year we've been together.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the Morning, Sports Zone Chicago. That video courtesy of the NFL Network. I was Stacey Dales with the interview of RyanPoles. And I'm telling you, he is playing. Worry about my broken finger here. Golf clap for GM RyanPoles. He's playing it well. He's playing it well. Yeah. Let's see. Would you play poker with Poles? No. Definitely not. I agree with you. All right, 6 picks, wasting one on a quarterback doesn't make sense to me. I'm telling you, and I would. I am going to. And it's interesting. The funny thing is this: is you sit there and everyone says Caleb is this, Caleb is that. Caleb is a great talent. I'm not diminishing what he can do. I'm not diminishing that at all. I think we have a guy in Justin Fields who can do that and more. All right, who can do that and more. And to me, if RyanPoles is true to his word, man, he goes to the draft. He builds through the draft. Like, there's so many different holes that he can fill. Like, there's literally 3, maybe 4 trade backs he can get. And here's the thing. People talk about, well, you don't want to just accumulate draft picks. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Because his ability to draft has been pretty spot on. And if Velus Jones, all right, has a good year under Shane Waldron, his top 3, his drafts in the first 3 rounds will have been very, very good. Very good. His first 3 rounds in his drafts will have been very, very good. and to accumulate more picks in the top 3 when you know that that's your sweet spot, that's the way to build a team. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm telling you, I still don't. I know what I heard. I know what everyone's saying. I know it. But man, we heard that they were taking that they're going to use the first pick. Then we heard they're going to trade the first pick. Now we heard they're going to use the first pick. How soon before the trade winds come back, or is this the final one and think, oh, they're keeping it before they trade the first pick? It's possible. It's very possible, and I think that's what he's doing. We don't have to agree. All right, that's okay. That's okay. But listen, to all those other jamokes, well, here's the thing. I'm gonna be able to talk a lot of shit, or I'm gonna have to eat a lot of crow. One or the other. See, here's what Poles had to say about rookie quarterbacks.
This group of quarterbacks coming in.
Yeah.
What's your assessment?
Yeah, a dynamic group, all different flavors in this draft. There's guys that have all the talent and tools in the world, and it's up to us as a scouting staff to kind of see, do they have enough, and what's the internal part, what's the drive that they have, the leadership, because that's really, really important when you look at the history of quarterbacks. So it's a good group. So that's, again, it makes it very unique.
And I love, to me, words are very important. And he's done a great job of whoever coached him, if he's just taking it from his former general managers that he's worked under, 3 City. He is, his words are very, very calculated. All right. He's not as great. A great guy. He goes, it's a very unique opportunity. That's the one thing. We're in a unique opportunity. All right. He's not showing his way. Oh, we're in a great spot, or this. We're excited. We have a unique opportunity. And then there was another thing. They all talked about, all 3. Justin, Eberflus, and Poles all talked about living in the gray and being, you know what I mean? They're all 3 of them were on the same page, which is another thing that struck me. Now, Mike, it could have talked and said, "Hey, here's what we're gonna do." We're not gonna do. It's possible. It's a coincidence. It's very possible. Okay. But just to me, it's something that stood out. All right. So that shows you that they've had conversations, and RyanPoles has been very upfront about his communication with Justin. All right. I mean, hell, he even watched film with him, last year. And I think everything it's just, again, a different situation, different circumstances. And I think they have to kind of, not to have to, they're playing it different. And my whole thing, and again, I don't care what other people say. I still believe. I know that was a gut punch to many people, according to many people. Again, you could read into it how you want. Still believe Justin isn't going anywhere. Again, I could be wrong. I just think, and people are talking about, first of all, it just makes too much sense. Caleb to Washington, it makes too much sense. It makes way too much sense for me. It does. Okay. I think that it does. So you can sit there and call me whatever you want. I really couldn't care less. All right, well, you eat, don't make me shit. So I'm not worried about it. But that's my take. Okay. That's my take. It looks bad. It looks ominous for Justin Fields fans, but we got to, again, it's not that I'm hoping, I hope. No, I'm looking at looking at it from a different point of view, from a financial point of view. And I'll tell you, if they when they keep Justin and they announce the trade for the number 1 overall pick to Washington, I might be the biggest douchebag, annoying mother Hubbard in the world. You caught that as well. We talked about getting the same haul as last year. Imagine getting 3 starters in this year's draft, plus next year's first, plus another second for next year. So there you go. 2 first rounds of 23, 2 first rounds of 24, 2 first rounds of 25. Yeah. I don't believe it. I just, and he could be having an issue. He could be like, man, I gotta figure it out, but blah 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 blah. I think he's happy with. I think they're happy with Justin, and you can say, and don't throw numbers at me. All right, we talked about. You can't come. You can look at numbers are nice, but you have to say, okay, who's catching the ball, or I should say, who's dropping the ball, who's not getting open. Okay. Why does Justin Fields continue to have so many fourth quarter comeback attempts? Because the defense was giving up points. Watching Sports Zone eating a supersized chili dog. Cornelius, I agree. I agree. It is the wrong way to go. I know you got money. Doesn't mean you have to spend it all. Spend it wisely. Sign JJ. Okay, go get Daniel Hunter. And, Evan Brown. Get the center. Draft another center. Get him for a 2-year deal. Or who's the other center? Who would you say? Brian, I think, put it. Whatever the other center is. Brewster. Yeah. Anyway, one of the 2 centers. Sign him to a 2-year deal. Or sign him to a 3-year deal. Front load it and cut him after 2. Simple. All right. Aaron Brewer. That's who it is. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. So you shore up that center. That's huge. Luis Mejia in the house. Good morning, Papa. I think the Bears take Caleb and still get compensation for Justin. Well, they're still going to get, if they take Caleb, they're getting something for him. I mean, there's already trade offers on the table for Justin, so they'll get something for him. Yeah. And here's another thing, leadership. Leadership is a thing. Does he have it? Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you. His conversations. Is he blown away with Caleb? I don't know. He's been very coy. He's been very down the middle, very politically correct, and I love it about him. I love it. He's showing no way. Yeah, all eyes are on the draft this year because, and here's a great part, is that he said he wants to get it done. It's going to get done right after the combine because free agency starts in a couple of weeks, and he said he wants to get it done before free agency because that's going to affect people's boards. That's going to affect what they do. Now, he doesn't have to. I mean, he can wait till after free agency up until the draft. But I mean, you're going to start to see, and again, he doesn't have to help other organizations. That's not his job is to do the best for the Bears. So he doesn't have to help any organization. He can hold it up until draft day. I love when people say Justin's 10-32, he's 10-28. But that's the thing, is that's the narrative, is that people will say when you bring up, well, Caleb Williams didn't win a Pac-12 title. he never got to the college football playoffs. He's like, well, it's a team game. But you can't use the team. You can't use that stat. Justin's 10 and 28, 29 with the Bears as a defense for Caleb when Caleb didn't win the Pac-12 or get to the college football playoff. Because now it's a team sport when it fits your narrative for Justin. I mean, for Caleb, but now it's not a team stat, or team stat when it's for Caleb, but now it's not a team stat. A quarterback stat when you're for Justin? It doesn't make sense. Can't do that. Can't do that. All right. If it's a team sport, it's a team sport. You're talking to Stacy. If I did, then I misspoke. When you were talking to Stacy Dez, you said he didn't have any offer, any trade-off for Justin. I know the guy from Atlanta maybe won him, but he made it. No. I don't know if he didn't have an offer, but there are reports from multiple sources that said Atlanta was one of the places. So if I did say that, then I misspoke. And thank you for pointing that out. DC, correct. He traded the number 1 pick after the combine, just before free agency, and that's why he wants to get it. He'll have it said. See, he knows he's in control. He's like, well, I'd like to have it done, before free. You can get it done. You control it. And believe me, he's got offers for the number 1 pick already. He's got offers for Justin Fields already. It's all what, and now he's just literally trying. Remember what I told you before? Oh, I'll have Steve. He is like, if you've ever seen Trading Places, I'm taking you back. What we're going to do right here is go back. He's like Trading Places at the end, right? Where they switch and they get the frozen orange juice crop report. And they switch it with the Dukes. So the Dukes get the false one, they get the real one. So they know how the market's going to go because they have the real projections. And they're just sitting there, and Eddie Murphy. I'm trying to find Eddie Murphy sitting there he's like, you. And that's what RyanPoles is doing. Let me hear your offer. Okay, that's nice. Let me hear your offer. Oh, that's nice. Now your offer. Okay. Oh, your turn. That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. And I'm telling you, I truly think, and I could be wrong, and I'll have to eat a lot of shit from a lot of people. I'm going to have to eat a lot of shit from a lot of people. And you know what? I'm okay with it. I think he's keeping him. And granted, he's coming into a much better system. If he drafts Caleb, he's coming into a much better system. A much better situation than Justin. And if you like Justin, then you give him that shot. If you like Justin, you give him that shot to say, hey, listen, he's a leader. We got the guy who's developed who's worked with 2 quarterbacks has been successful. Yeah. Salary cap goes up. You got to worry about Justin's 50-year option. You're good. Oh, man, 2 hours is coming and gone. Man, I want to thank my guests, Eugene McIntosh from the Bigs, for coming out talking Bulls basketball with me, the Cubs as well. Love Gino, and I appreciate him. Every time I call him, he goes, let's do it. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Eugene. Great stuff. Keep doing what you do. Keep grinding, Papa. And then my second guest, E.J. Snyder, down in Indianapolis. All right, from Bootleg Football, attending his first combine. So make sure you check his stuff out. I want to thank him for coming on. Man, great stuff. So listen, I got to go pick up the warden. It's time. The CrossFit class is almost over. If you're in Chicago, bundle up. It is cold. The Hawk is out, baby. All right. It's going to be cold, but it's going to warm up the next couple of days. Guys, enjoy your day. Get out there, take a nice walk, get the sun. Doesn't matter. All right, don't even matter if it's cold. Just get out there, enjoy your loved ones. Send people a text, a call. Let them know. Let your loved ones know that they're loved. All right. I'll be on today at 1:00 with Nomad. Make sure you check it out. I'll be on the Nomad Network. It'll be on my personal page as well as Sean Sierra Sports. So for everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, Elliot Baez, our executive producer. All right. Clarence Council III, our social media guy, my co-host, Maya Kai. I'm your boy, the Superback Sean Sierra, Sports Owners. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm out.